National Electrical Code, or NEC, mandates that conduit should not exceed a 40% fill ratio based on their cross-sectional area when housing conductors. This regulation is crucial for several reasons, foremost among them being the management of heat generated by the conductors. When electrical current flows through a conductor, it produces heat. If conductors are packed too tightly within a conduit, this heat cannot dissipate effectively, potentially leading to overheating. Overheating can degrade the insulation of the wires, reducing their lifespan and increasing the risk of electrical faults, short circuits, and even fires. The 40% fill limit provides adequate airspace within the conduit to facilitate heat dissipation, ensuring the safe and reliable operation of the electrical system. Use wire, an acronym for underground service entrance wire, is a specific type of electrical conductor designed for direct burial in the earth or for use in wet or corrosive environments. Its construction incorporates a moisture-resistant insulation typically made from thermoset polyethylene, which provides enhanced protection against degradation when exposed to dampness, chemicals, and other harsh conditions found underground or in industrial settings. The insulation of use wire is significantly thicker compared to other types of wire, such as THHN or THWN, which are commonly used in dry indoor applications. This increased insulation thickness contributes to the wire's superior resistance to environmental factors, but also results in a larger overall diameter. The larger diameter of use wire is the primary reason it is not typically included in standard conduit fill tables. Conduit fill tables are designed to provide guidance on the maximum number of conductors of a specific size and type that can be safely installed in a particular size of conduit while adhering to the NEC 40% fill requirement. Because use wire has a larger diameter than other types of wire of the same gauge, it occupies more cross-sectional area within the conduit. Consequently, if use wire were used in a conduit fill to the maximum capacity specified for other types of wire, the 40% fill limit would likely be exceeded. This would compromise the conduit's ability to dissipate heat effectively, increasing the risk of overheating. The NEC omission of use wire from standard conduit fill tables is not an oversight, but rather a deliberate measure to ensure electrical safety. It reflects the understanding that use wire's unique properties necessitate special consideration when determining conduit fill. To determine the appropriate conduit size for use wire, electricians and electrical engineers must consult the NEC tables and perform calculations to ensure that the 40% fill limit is not exceeded. This involves calculating the cross-sectional area of the use conductors and comparing it to the available area within the conduit. The NEC provides formulas and tables to assist in these calculations. When installing use wire, there are generally three acceptable methods. Firstly, direct burial, secondly, encasement in concrete, and thirdly, installation in a dedicated conduit system. When direct burial is chosen, the use wire is buried directly in the ground without any additional protection. This method is suitable for applications where the wire is not subject to physical damage or excessive stress. The burial depth must comply with the NEC requirements, typically a minimum of 24 inches for a residential application. When use wire is encased in concrete, it is embedded within a concrete structure, such as a foundation or slab. This provides excellent physical protection for the wire and is often used in applications where the wire is subject to heavy load or potential impact. When use wire is installed in a dedicated conduit system, it is run through a conduit specifically designed for that purpose. This method provides both physical protection and a means of containing any potential electrical faults. When use wire is installed in a conduit, it is important to select the appropriate conduit size to ensure that the 40% fill limit is not exceeded. When determining conduit fill for use wire, it is crucial to consider the wire's actual outer diameter, which is larger than that of other types of wire with the same gauge. Failure to account for this increased diameter can lead to an overfilled conduit, compromising its ability to dissipate heat and increasing the risk of overheating. The NEC provides tables that list the dimensions of various types of wire, including use wire. These tables can be used to determine the cross-sectional area of the wire and calculate the appropriate conduit size. In cases where use wire is installed in a conduit along with other types of wire, The fill calculations must account for the combined cross-sectional area of all conductors. The NEC specifies different fill limits for different types of conduit. For example, Schedule 40 PVC conduit has a different fill limit than Schedule 80 PVC conduit. It is important to consult the NEC to determine the appropriate fill limit for the specific type of conduit being used. In addition to the 40% fill limit, the NEC also imposes other restrictions on conduit fill. For example, the NEC limits the number of conductors that can be installed in a conduit based on the conduit size. This is to prevent the conduit from becoming overcrowded and to ensure that the conductors can be easily pulled through the conduit. The NEC also requires that all conductors installed in a conduit be of the same type and size. This is to prevent the conductors from rubbing against each other and damaging the insulation. When installing used wire in a conduit, it is important to use the correct type of fittings and connectors. Fittings and connectors must be listed for use with used wire and must be compatible with the conduit material. It is also important to ensure that the fittings and connectors are properly installed to prevent moisture from entering the conduit. The NEC requires that all electrical work be performed by qualified electricians. Qualified electricians have the knowledge and experience to install used wire safely and in accordance with the NEC requirements. Failure to comply with the NEC can result in fines, penalties, and even criminal charges. In addition to the NEC requirements, it is also important to follow the manufacturer's instructions when installing used wire. The manufacturer's instructions may provide additional guidance on how to install the wire safely and effectively. Installing used wire safely requires a thorough understanding of the NEC requirements, the properties of used wire, and the proper installation techniques. By following these guidelines, electricians can ensure that used wire is installed safely and reliably. It is always best to consult with a qualified electrician or electrical engineer to determine the appropriate conduit size and installation methods for used wire in a specific application. These professionals have the expertise to ensure that the installation complies with all applicable codes and standards, minimizing the risk of electrical hazards.